Good morning. I do this every morning. I get it like pointing at the ceiling. Hi, y'all. This is Stacy. This is Walking in My Shoes, and we are loving my veteran. And good morning this morning. I'm gonna have a few sips of coffee, get ourselves motivated here. Just want to tell everyone hello, good morning. Hope you've had a great morning. Today's topic is finding your happiness. Hmm. It's been a deep topic. It's been something I've thought about a lot. We've kind of talked about it on and off for a little bit, but we have to find our happiness somewhere in the midst of all this stuff. We have to find our happiness. Our happiness is important. Our happiness will dictate everything else we do. Our happiness is truly where we're going to find peace. Happiness happens to be in this cup of coffee that I'm having. So, with that being said, let's kind of talk about. Good morning, Erica. Let's kind of talk about happiness. Where does it come from? Um, if anybody's not read my blog that I posted yesterday about seal of approval, that's probably one of the most open and honest blogs I've done on my personal happiness or unhappiness or lack of happiness. Most of our life, we think that our happiness is equated to how others view us or judge from the time we're little. When we're little kids and when we have kids of our own and they do something good, we're all like, yay, you made mommy happy, you did such a good job. So from the time we're very young, we learn that pleasing others is a form of happiness, or that's the way it's imposed upon us, or we're taught from the time we're little. You know, when you start out in elementary school, and then I don't know how many of y'all got this, but we had stars that our teachers put up, and he who had the most stars won. And our report cards when we were young didn't have A's and B's and C's; they had smiley faces and sad faces. And so when you did a paper or you did a little worksheet and you got your happy face from your teacher, you were excited because it made you happy. You made somebody else happy. And that quickly becomes how we equate our happiness. Our happiness becomes relevant to how we make other people feel. Well, that's not where happiness comes from. And it's taken me 54 years to learn this. So, for those of you who are younger than me, I love you. I'm going to give you the little tip early on in life that it doesn't come from other people, it comes from ourselves. When the lottery jackpot gets up in that 200, $300,000 range, everybody starts talking about, ooh, what if we won that lottery? How would that make me happy? How would that make my life better? How is that going to change my life for the better? How is it going to do all these things for me if I won $300 million? He messes up my perfectly good hair every morning. Okay, I'm just saying. Love you, honey. But how did if you won $300 million, would that make you happy? And how is that going to change your happiness? It's not- Will you stop putting your 2 cents worth in? This is my walking in my shoes. You want to come and sit down and join me? You are welcome to it. I love him. So he's right. You can't buy happiness. Happiness doesn't come from monetary things because $300 million, is that going to change who you are? Absolutely. People say, oh, no, it won't change me. Yeah, honey, it will change you. $300 million will change you just like that. So, we talk about if you had that kind of money, you buy a new car, you buy a new house, you buy a new this, you buy that. Does your happiness matter if you're sitting in a $500 sweater or a $5 Walmart sweater? Yeah. Are you any happier? And if you may be happier when you first put it on, you may be happier when you can go to your friends and say, ooh, I got a Michael Kors, or ooh, I have a Gucci bag, or ooh, I'm wearing Prada. It might seem happy at that moment, but putting your wallet in a Prada bag doesn't really change your happiness. It doesn't give you the core of where your happiness comes from. So basically, my whole life, I looked for this seal of approval from somebody. Um, I was bred, I laugh about it. I was bred, at least in my mind, to be a certain way. I had it in my mind that my mom was a cheerleader and I lived in the same county as my parents. Okay. So, went to the same high school that my parents went to. So I had it in my mindset that I had to follow in their footsteps. Well, when I didn't, and I took a different path and went into drama and not cheerleading and da 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 da, I became personally uptight that I was failing, and because I didn't do what they had expected, or in my mind they had expected me to do. um, I was judged in my mind. It wasn't necessarily that. I loved drama. I loved everything about theater. I wanted to do that. That was where my happiness was. I was happy when I did that. But then I sat here and I said, "Oh, but I'm not a cheerleader, and oh, I'm not dating the captain of the football team, and oh, I'm not doing this." And so all of my happiness that I found in doing theater got crushed because I put this weird thing on me. We have these expectations of what other people expect from us, and we let that define our happiness. And like I said, I'm open, honest, and share these stories. So after I got out of high school, I was going to go to college, and I was registered at college for the first 2 semesters. Most of it I spent on the beach. I clept out of some classes. I skipped a whole lot of classes, and I figured I could learn more at the beach than I could learn sitting in the confines of a room. Well, that wasn't necessarily true, but okay. So I kind of blew that away. And then I ended up pregnant before I got married. And in the small town that I grew up in, that just wasn't acceptable. Nobody in my family had ever done it. So, when that little test said positive, I about had a heart attack and fell over and didn't know what to do. So, there's always this advice you get. Well, you need to do this and you need to do that, and maybe you should have an abortion, or maybe you should do this. Long story short, David Scott came into the world. I married his dad. And there was happiness in some of that. There was this cute, adorable baby who looked up at me and Googled and cooed and did all those things, and he depended on me and he looked at me with love in his eyes, and I was happy. But at the same time, because of our financial situation, we were on WIC and some other stuff. I didn't enjoy those moments with my child like I should have because I was worried about how other people were going to judge me. So we packed up and drove a county away to get groceries so nobody knew where we really were. So I judged and I equated my happiness to somebody else because I didn't add up. So I found that most of my life, I've been a pretty miserable human being. I've been pretty miserable because I let myself be judged by my opinion of everybody else's standards. That makes sense now? Somebody with me now? Depression sits in when you don't find happiness of your own. Depression sits in at a level you cannot imagine. I get it. We're all in this boat together. We all have veterans that suffer from PTSD. We all have lives. We all have jobs. We all have struggles. We all have these things. And we take this outside influences and we let them rob us of our happiness. Is living with a spouse with PTSD tough? Yep. Been there, done that, do that every day. Okay. It's tough. Does it suck the energy out of you at times? Absolutely. Every bit of it. Does it make you question why you're there? Yeah, it does. It is what it is. Does it make you feel angry and sad and miserable? It can. But your happiness isn't determined by your spouse. It isn't determined by your children. It isn't determined by your job. It's determined by you. Where's your happiness? What makes you happy? Well, after the first of this year, I didn't think there was anything that made me happy. I mean, I did, I was living with the love of my life. I mean, I will say that. But, job changed, finances changed, everything changed, depression set in, and I was at my rock bottom. Nothing made me happy. In my eyes, I couldn't find happiness anywhere. And I was determined that the world would be better off without me. My relationship would be better off if I wasn't in it. Carl would have a better life if I wasn't around. My kids would have a better life if I wasn't part of their life. My mom could go on and function and not have to deal with my drama. That would became my mindset. I wrote a letter to all these people telling them how much I loved them, telling them how much I needed them, and how grateful I was to them. And on 3 occasions this past year, I tried to convince them. 3 occasions. 2 of them were after we started loving my better. But I directed myself in the wrong place with this. It was my distraction. Now it's become my passion. Now this helps me get through my depression and gets me to my happy place. Talking to y'all uplifts me and it gets me through that. But you know where my happiness was found? My happiness was found one night, late at night, when I told Carl I was done, grabbed the truck keys, and my full intent was to take that truck and drive at 90 miles an hour and hit a tree. That was my mindset. I was done. And I can assure you that a fight ensued. I can assure you that physicalness happened. Okay? I assure you that he took, and I was on the ground in the dirt, laying there with him on top of me, holding me down as I am kicking and screaming and telling him, I want to die, leave me alone. And he looked at me and he said, your life matters. He screamed that at me. He was afraid, like the spit. Remember that it's plain as day. Your life matters. And here I am in the dirt, feeling depressed, feeling whatever. And he says, you are strong and you are smart and you matter and you need to get that through your head. And tears started rolling. And that was the first time in a long time that I felt like I mattered. From that moment on, I started actively looking for my happiness. I found my first glimmer of true happiness laying in the dirt in the middle of the night with this enraged veteran on top of me. Love you too, Natalie. With this enraged veteran on top of me saying, you matter and you're smart and you're strong. If that's where you find happiness, good gosh. It's not found in the department store product, okay? I'm just saying. It's found in the deepest, darkest moments of our life. We need to find our inner happiness. And those of you that are doing the writing my story, when we listed those strengths that we all have, the strengths that you have, compassion, love, all of your personal strengths, kindness, all of those strengths. Let's just take love, compassion, kindness. When you become angry and negative, those strengths instantly become your weaknesses because they become the opposite. Your love turns to hate. Your compassion turns to resentment. You got to find your happiness in you. It's not found in your veteran. It's not found in your children. It's not found in your parents. It's not found in your job. Your happiness lies within you. It doesn't have to be big. We don't have to win the mega million to make us happy. It's the little things. It's the walking into Walmart to get your groceries and pushing your buggy, especially if we don't have a mask on, it works a little better, and smiling at somebody and telling them good morning. Or telling your cashier, have a blessed day. Or holding the door open for somebody and saying, good morning, hope you have a good day. Or reading something inspirational that uplifts you, or walking outside and looking at the flowers, or looking at the leaves change. Those moments create happiness, what we're supposed to have. That's where we find our happiness. We don't find our happiness in somebody else. We don't find our happiness. I love Carl with everything in me. And he can bring out the very best in me. He can also bring out the very worst in me. But if I lived my life with him defining what's my best life, it's not going to work. I had to make that decision. I have to be the one to say, this is the best of me. This is what makes me happy. Our life, and you've heard me say this before, is full of moments, moments, moments in time. Are there going to be moments that we're sad? Yep. Are there going to be moments that we're depressed? Yep. Are there going to be moments that we're angry? Yep. But there's going to be moments that we're kind, and going to be moments that we're loving, and going to be moments that we smile. Enjoy them. We have the holidays coming, and holidays can create such turmoil at times. And we all have our vision of what the holidays should look like. I have a family that I was blessed. My mom was an only child. And so when we grew up, my dad's parents, my nana and my poppy, always had my mama over, and we were one big family. So we never spent Christmas at my mom's house and Christmas at my dad's parents' house. We always spent Christmas and every holiday together. It was just normal. There were Nana, Poppy, Mama there. By that time, my grandpa had died. So it was just the way it was. I mean, we were all there together. So I remember early on in my first two marriages, we had to learn to split that up. I had to be at my family's house and I had to be at the ex's house. And I'm thinking, the heck, this isn't what Christmas is supposed to be like. So we all have these divisions of what the holidays are supposed to be. They're visions that we've created from our past memories. For those of us, not me anymore, thank God I've given that up because I learned it's depressing. Watching Hallmark movies and those decorations and the way, oh, they carol and the snow falls at just the right time and the hot chocolate's always perfect. We all have our visions of what the holidays should be. We all have traditions. We all have things of what they should be. We all have the going out and buying of the gifts. We all have the stuff that it does. And when something doesn't go right, we lose our anger. We get angry. We lose our happiness. So what I'm saying to you is, as the holidays are approaching, find your happiness. What makes you happy? It's not going to be, look, y'all, I'm not kidding you. I used to have the picture perfect Christmas trees. Like they were award winning Christmas trees. Okay.